Fantastic is there. So fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's half an hour. Usually every month I'm sharing some of the insights about the CRM and HubSpot hacks, tips, and tricks. And today's session is more about how to set up your CRM, what and how to set up things that we've been setting up for our clients for a number of months. It is a little bit about CRM, about something that you might know, but maybe some more insights that you might find very useful. It's based on our experience. It's not based on any playbooks. So that's the very much important part to share. But also after my presentation, it won't be long, maybe 10 minutes. I'd like to form discussion. I've got your questions during registration, so all the questions are there. So let's every single individual scenario of CRM is different. So I'm happy to take up the question, and perhaps if the time will allow, we can schedule one-to-one conversation with us. So that's fine, and welcome everyone once again. And let me just find out my short presentation before we start. Everything is there. So yeah, there you go. Share the screen, entire screen, and yeah, and slideshow. Okay, so if you have a pressing question during presentation, please use the chat. So I'll come back to this. Maybe you have a specific question to some slides. I want to carry on with my presentation, and then I will get back to the chat window for more in-depth overview of what you want to cover. So this is your challenges. I just literally a few minutes ago, I've just pasted this from your registration page. And this is your questions. Most likely segmentation and prioritization is finding new clients and leads, but also how to maximize the workflows, how to maximize the opportunity that is there in your HubSpot. Once again, workflows is one of the tools that will help you to automate processes inside the HubSpot, outside and inside processes. I will cover a little bit more into this, and we'll share some of the insights how best to approach this. But today's topic is more about what to consider, how to make sure that whatever CRM you are using, it is set for success. It is just a couple of slides. That slide actually was taken during our visit to Boston in the headquarters of HubSpot in September. We really enjoyed that visit with Anna, and we learned quite a lot of different things, and especially the ecosystem of HubSpot, massive ecosystem of HubSpot. 14,000 attendees attended the event. So things to consider, to probably focus on the following, and there are more people joining. Let me just admit, yeah. So the first bit that what we've seen over the past year is that the segmentation is a challenge for everyone. And I want to cover a little bit of that, what and how to segment and what to focus on. Then the second part is the data, and that was reflected during the event, inbound event. The data is very much important part always, but what does it mean for the small and medium-sized business and how to capture the data? I'd like to cover a little bit of that. And the final bit, in order to success in 2023, we need to think about the automation. So by having a good segmentation and good data about your prospects inside your CRM, you will be able to automate some of the processes. Some of the processes requires a little bit of testing, but I want to cover and share with you 3 of the automation that I'd like you to maybe test, depending on your license. Welcome new guests joining today, and as you have more questions during the that webinar, please do use the chat window. Then we will have opportunity for a Q&A. I will try to keep this session to about half an hour. I'm aware that it's pressing time, Christmas time, and you probably have quite a lot of to-do list to complete. So segmentation. The first important part of the segmentation is synchronization. And what synchronization means, as you know, in HubSpot, we have contacts and companies as objects. So basically, we are saving the data on both. But what we can see, segmentation in some of the HubSpot accounts are only based on, let's say, contacts, or only based on a company. Our suggestion is to actually sync that segmentation with your objects. What does it mean? Basically, when I speak to the certain prospect X, let's say it is Adam, I speak to Adam, and Adam works for the Coca-Cola company. I want to make sure that both contacts and companies are the same segments, because basically this is the lead that are coming up. Very often that is the thing that is lacking. So we have very good contact segmentation, but company segmentation is not there. Good example is to synchronize them. If you change the status of the marketing qualified lead for the contacts, do change that status for company. Okay. I will also share some of the ideas how we can workflow this. The second option, the second segmentation part that will help you to get most out of any CRM is keep one rule of segmentation. So the problem that we've seen auditing the different HubSpot is that some of the users they have own segmentation rules. So imagine 50 people in a company, and each single person will have a different segmentation rules of contacts or company. So that will be ultimate mess in the database. And what does it mean basically in HubSpot? Very easy way you can organize is you can organize it. This is also available in free CRM. You can create the property under contacts and company, the same contact property. We call it tag. You can call it segments. And a list of these will sync between to either manually or by workflow. And what you can then do is all the data that is coming to your CRM, they either have that parameter or doesn't have that parameter. That is the very simple way of creating a clean database. And what you might discover that some of the contacts are coming to your database from different sources. They haven't been uploaded or segmented properly. So one segmentation rule and custom property, example, the tags. And the final bit is connected with synchronization, is copy relevant data from company to contact. And so in HubSpot, the company does have a very powerful AI function. So it is based on the domain. So when you open the company in your HubSpot, then system will automatically use sources like a Google, like others, in order to fulfill the data. So the good example is that once you add the coca-cola.co.uk.com, and what will happen then? HubSpot automatically will find the information such as their headquarters, the turnover, how many offices, and so on, and will fulfill with this data. Some of the data is relevant, some not, but what you will find very useful is some of the data on the company level obviously won't synchronize it to the contact level. So as an example, for the Coca-Cola company, you might speak to the Adam, and Adam works not in New York, but it works in, I don't know, in Edinburgh or in London. And you want to mark this up in your CRM or sync that data back to the HubSpot. And what you can do in HubSpot is take some of the company data, like a headquarter, like a phone number, main switch number, or maybe even industry, and copy to all contacts that are associated to that company. You can do this manually, or you can use a workflow to organize that. So why we're doing this, the final bit, is because we want to make sure that we have enough data on all levels, both company and contacts, in order to be more precise with targeting. The second bit is about data, and data is the king. Data makes our business more accurate with personalization and targeting emails and marketing, basically. So first thing I'd like you to, as a homework, to review all the integrations. And very common integrations obviously are website and email address. Is the common thing to actually getting things considered. But what will happen later? Like what other integrations are affecting your database? Think about kind of broader terms. You might use systems like QuickBooks maybe, or maybe systems like LeadJet or any others that will actually create a contact record in your HubSpot. So one of the data integration that some of the customers are asking us is the contacts within your Outlook. That is the integration available. You can synchronize both, vice versa, from contact outlooks to HubSpot Outlook and vice versa. So make sure that that data is then recognized in HubSpot. So that's number one. But number two, how these people are being tagged. Are they recognized? So we want to have a clean segmentation rules. Remember that first point I did share with you. Let's make a one segmentation rule that will help you to understand who is in our database and what relationship do we have with these people. Moving forward, use progressive fields. So sounds complicated, but it's actually not. That feature is available in professional and above. So just to make sure, I want to make sure that you know, you're aware of this. However, you can do a little bit of tricks with the forms and create different questions to different type of engagement within the forms. So inside the HubSpot, you can create the forms. That's okay. But that forms is not only the form that will help to actually register delegate for the event or contact you. That form is also the powerful source of your data, your question that you want to ask. So when you think about your prospecting in 2023, I want you to consider what type of question, one, maybe two questions, would you like to ask a contact or company in order to qualify. Okay, one question. Think about one question that, or maybe two questions that you would like to ask your potential people. So think about the integrations. You have loads of data coming to your HubSpot. You have email addresses. You have phone numbers, but that's okay. But that's probably not enough in order to actually marketing qualify them. So I'll give you a little bit of hint what question you might ask. So in terms of our approach, we are HubSpot partners, gold partners. We always ask the first qualified questions. Are you in HubSpot? Are you not in HubSpot? Because that will actually help us to be more precise with our marketing. Okay, are you in HubSpot or are you not in HubSpot? And then they can basically choose the option, and they themselves will be applied to different the categories or lists. So another question you might consider is, are you B2B or B2C customer? But also the question is insurance question. Okay, do you have home insurance in place or not? Or when is your insurance due for renewal? Think about different questions that is relevant to your business. So then that one question will be collected across different forms in progressive fields. So once that form will collect the first question and you define another question, let's say the second question will be about your number of employees, 1 to 10, 11 to 50, and so on. That is the second question that will help you to fulfill the data by customer itself during the forms. And there is a number of clever ways of doing things like ebooks, but event registrations. But inside the HubSpot and forms, you will be able to fulfill the data by using simply rule of asking the questions. Now, the final bit with data, and I move to the final bit about automation in a second, and we crack on with the questions, answers for lots of different questions you might have. Already I can see 6 appearing in my chat window. Keep data consistent. What basically does it mean is, for example, formatting. So some of the data is broken. Some of the data is like first name, last name is capital names. And you want to have this more kind of professional way. Or another one is keep data consistent means that you don't have a first name of each single contact in your database. This is just the basics, but when you think the consistency of data, you might create a list of people without first name. So first name is unknown, and create a list of that list just for marketing purpose. So that then your goal in, let's say, Q1 2023 is to get that data. Yes, so think a little bit how you can create the workflow or marketing activities to actually get that first names. Okay, and that could be collected as a form in a form that you can then sign in for newsletter and so on. But that's another option is obviously to think about what data do you have for each single prospect. So for example, mobile, do I have all mobile phone numbers for decision makers that are in the pipeline? That's another one. Okay, do I have this contact number? Do I have a personal contact numbers? If I don't have that numbers, okay, so I need to fulfill that numbers because I then can be more quicker with the sales. So that's another example how you keep the consistent data. So think about the data that you want to actually collect, and then keep consistency. When you create contacts, for example, new contact or company, make sure that you have you actually save that data. There is an option in HubSpot, and I think it is available now in Starter and above, that you will be able to, you won't be able to create a contact without, let's say, mobile phone number or I don't know, tag or email address. Moving forward, the final bit is automation. So I covered already segmentation, so making sure that you've got the right segments by using custom field. I talk about the data. So we have a segmentation, we have a data, and the final bit is the juicy bit, the automation bit. So I want to share a little bit more about like 3 ideas of automation that you can build inside your HubSpot. And back again, full automation is available in professional sales, marketing and above. You might use filters in free or starter CRM in order to achieve what I actually now will be talking about. So the first automation example is to create a rule of ideal contact or company that will appear in a workflow. So it could be something based on the industry. Let's say that you're targeting the insurance industry. Okay, this is your target market, and anyone who will actually appear from the insurance company, you want to be notified. Okay, that is the one of the example. But another example is you can create different roles. You can create a ideal client 1, 2, 3, so tiering system. So ideal client is insurance, but also I'm happy to talk with a business about, you know, with a business who actually is within wider finance industry. So that's tier 2. That notification could go directly to you or to the inbox. So then you won't miss anything. Imagine you have 10, 15, 20, 100 different people working within your company. Everyone is creating different database. So obviously new emails are coming to your HubSpot. And then eventually that email based on the domain name is actually one ideal client that you want to reach. You might not have any context in order to reach to that client and prospect, but at least you will be notified in HubSpot that prospect or that company has been, I don't know, downloaded something, or maybe one of your sales team maybe found some lead by searching, I don't know, LinkedIn or Google, and it has been saved into the HubSpot. The second option is synchronization of life cycle stage. Back to the segmentation rule in HubSpot. There is some kind of macro overview of your database, basically lifecycle stage. It's either your subscriber, obviously, your marketing lead or sales lead, or maybe some customer. You can workflow that by creating different roles. But what I want to talk about is basically to talk about synchronization. So if the contact in your database became your customer, you want to make sure it's not only your contact that does have a parameter customer, also the company who is working for, or the primary company is also customer. And very often, quite a lot of businesses are actually changing the data of the contact, but it's actually also whole business is a customer. So why this is important? This is important because when you actually look at the customer, you want to look both accounts, which is the business, but also the contacts. And you will have, once you do the synchronization within your HubSpot, and that workflow allow you to copy the data from one place to another, then you will be able to actually see the proper view of your relationship with the contacts and companies. And final option that I really like, this is option more for really marketing, and as we know, the emails are more harder to actually use for marketing outreach. We've been spammed, we've been overwhelmed with email marketing. Email marketing is still #1 option to use for your messaging and communication strategy. However, one of the options that you might include in your strategy for 2023 is to create a list of generic email addresses. And either you can use manually if you are on a not starter or free version, and apply into the list and exclude maybe that list with generic email addresses such as office or info at, or you can create a workflow that will actually all the info or office email addresses create a list generic email addresses. So if you exclude that emailing to the generic email addresses, you will definitely find the better engagement rate, because basically you're sending email to your contact database, And that's number one. But number two, imagine if you send to info email addresses, there is usually no first name, for example. So that personalization is very much limited. You might also find that info or office email addresses are basically generic office addresses or shared inbox that they have multiple different, multiple different people have access to. So if you send that invitation to join your specific webinar to join, or I don't know, you organize something interesting for your database, then obviously probably that email won't be even clicked, will be missed, and probably will end in a spam. That will improve your the way that you deliver emails, visibility, but also you will be more clever with the automation and personalization. So that's it from me, really. It was quite a lot. I will share that presentation and recording later on, but I want to just really emphasize on a number of points that you've discussed, and I've got your challenges listed. But also, let me just stop my screen and just start discussion. Please do have please do unlock or unmute rather your microphones and start conversation. What do you think? Did you find this useful? Maybe you have a specific questions about CRM. If I won't get any comment, I will fish for someone. Mark, fantastic. Go for it.
Morning, Bart. Nice seeing you again. Thank you very much for having me on today. First thing that really popped up there was during the segmentation. You talked about when you upload a contact, for example, you can then get access to the company's HQ and turnover. Is that I take it that's in one of the paying packages, because at the moment we're only using the free package, you see. So am I right? Yeah, I'm right in saying that you need to...
I'm not entirely sure, but it's probably some of the data is available even in free packages, because basically it is a Google search type of example. So it's based on domain. So again, some of the businesses are saying this is not fully accurate, because obviously you've got like millions of turnovers. That is not accurate really. But what will happen is that some of the data is very much important for your segmentation, such as industry. So automatically system will take, I don't know, Coca-Cola as a, I don't know, manufacturer, for example. And then you can copy that data to the all contacts associated with your business. So obviously, but when you look, because obviously you do have a relationship, funny enough, with contacts, not company. You get specific one or two people that you are actually dealing with you, and you want to have some of the data, look at it. So my suggestion is going to the company when you actually open your company, and you will write down the domain name and look what data will actually be fulfilled. If that is the data that is relevant to your business, you can copy that data. You can basically copy that data and just take that data to the contact level. And automation is available in professional and above, so you can basically set up the rule in workload that will automatically will do. Or if it's not there, you can obviously copy manually or just take the data from one place to another by manual engagement. Sylvia?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you again, Bart. As you know, I couldn't quite end your previous, I had to leave a little bit earlier last time, so I thought seeing you doing an online session on what you were discussing that day would be quite useful. We haven't started using HubSpot yet, so we're quite new to the whole thing. Could you share some tips on how to go about, for newbies, like completely not knowing everything about it? I know that what you've been saying has been quite useful at a point, but some of the parts I'm not aware of yet because we have not, started using it yet. So what are your best tips for people that haven't used it yet? Thank you.
Very good questions, Sylvia. I think always it's worth to actually refresh type of, what you need to do in order, like kind of school type of work exercise. What do you need to do in order to achieve any success? This is relevant questions to all, because obviously let's back to the basics. And I think the basic thing is to open the custom fields that will help you to upload the data to your HubSpot. That is the thing that is always a little bit of homework. Okay, so when you have an Excel sheet with all your contacts, first name, last name, and so on, the second question is, okay, I will upload these contacts, but what's that? It's just first name and last name and email, is just that's it, But is it your customer or is it your potential customer? Okay, is it your, I don't know, is it your lead or is it who? Then another question is the dates. So when that customer become your customer, that is interesting, because then you can create a list of people who actually became your clients last year, not this year. Okay, so this is more kind of relevant. So date probably will be there. Once you do the Excel, you can upload this data. And what is interesting is that HubSpot automatically will create the companies for you. You don't need to create the companies. It's based on email addresses. So they've got an email address at Automate UK, Automate Now UK. That will be automatically created as a company. And when you click the company, you will see the people based on their email addresses. So you don't need to do any association. So that probably will be my first option. And the second option is to review what you want to achieve with HubSpot. So quite a lot of people are approaching us for the sales perspective, and I like the pipelines, even if it's even available in free. But then obviously you can use more deeper, how you can build that prospect. So what will happen when you open new deal, then when you move things. So quite a lot of people like that, because then they know how many people they are in active conversation, so they can be more clever with automation. I will also share with you, Sylvia, and everyone else, the link to our 5 emails that we kind of tips for new HubSpot users. They will follow the kind of our guide. It is based on our own experience to follow.
That's really great. Thank you.
Ari.
So is it just a spreadsheet that you need to create? So it has to be an Excel spreadsheet with all your.
It's our Excel, yeah. That's
Does
it.
it have a particular? Do we need to put it in a particular format, or can you just create a spreadsheet and upload it onto HubSpot?
I suggest to have a minimum of the data that you want, like first name, last name, maybe first name as a minimum. Hello, Sylvia, instead of hello, no one. Email address, phone numbers. If you have, so you probably have sources from different places. So combine that spreadsheet into one from Google, one from Outlook, whatever you use, another one from QuickBooks, and somewhere else, and create one. Because ultimately what you want to say, some of the people have different email addresses, but this is basically one person. So that is the relevance of the data. So if you have 2 email addresses attached to the person, make sure that is one record, not 3 records, because this is one.
Yes, okay. I get it. Thank you.
No problem. Ari, you were first. Ari.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you again, Bart. So in terms of segmentation, is there a segmentation field or a tagging field that you tend to use, or are you kind of creating your own properties and fields as you go along?
Now, very good question again. So in HubSpot, by default, there is no, obviously, there is own segmentation HubSpot, so like industry, for example. Not much relevant, but there is something there. It's worth to actually look at. Now, on the contact level, you will be able to look at the data that you're actually taking from the forums. Okay, so if you ask the question, what is your birth date, and that data will be saved, that will be your data and as a custom property. Now, when it comes to tagging and making you HubSpot you need to go and open a custom field inside the CRM. So that is I call this tagging. I used to be a caption long time ago. But what I like about tagging is because this is a little bit of limitation with free and starter accounts. So you can create a limited of list, I think 25 active and 25 static for the segmentation. But you can create unlimited number of tags. So you can create some tags that you might not want to use now for marketing, but maybe it's worth to actually have in place. And you can create multiple, like hundreds of them. So it's depending on the scenario. And basically going to the contact record, creating custom property called tag segment, and drop-down list is the must. Do not use single text line, because spelling mistake and someone will enter client without T or whatever, that will be less likely to do it. So a list of the different things that you might consider. Another final note is you might, if you want to go a little bit more deeper, is to segment customer based on their marketing and non-marketing status. So I'll give you the example. So marketing status is someone, because basically in HubSpot you pay for marketing contacts. So number of contacts that you basically sending the email to. But some of the contacts might not be non-marketing. So non-marketing contact could be your vendor. Non-marketing contacts could be your person who refer your business. So non-marketing is people that you're not sending email marketing messages, while marketing is, let's say, that is the newsletter, London, newsletter Edinburgh, okay? And that will be easy for you to understand where the people are sitting. And in that case, you will be more clever. So remember, in HubSpot, non-marketing contacts, you can create unlimited. You can have millions of contacts. Doesn't matter whatever you do. Vasim.
Cool, thanks.
Hi, Bart. Just a quick couple of questions. If you can just explain tagging in a bit more detail in a second, but the two questions I have, can HubSpot integrate with your social media so you can start syncing messages? Because I'm thinking of maybe moving on to HubSpot. And segmentation, if you've got specific messages to different markets, i.e. different professions, can that be, is that what you can also, is that allowed in terms of segmentation as well? Can you have that?
Coming back to your second question, segmentation. So if you would like to have a different professions, there are two options. First option is basically use a function that is already there, like a job title or job function. It is based, some of the data is accurate, some not, but there is a data there. So if someone is filling the form and they saying that this is the CEO or owner, then that is something that if this is your auto, if you would like to create your own rules and make sure that these people are solicitors, these people are accountants, I would probably advise to go with your own custom property called, such as Basim's, solicitors. So then every single contact or company that is entering your HubSpot, then either they have either both or maybe final option, maybe other. So that is the easy way to understand, okay, I have 800 contacts and I know 300 of them are solicitors, 350 are, accountants, and 50 unknown or maybe other. And that will help you to understand, okay, this is the people I want to send message.
And you can do that within the free one as well, the free version.
Yeah, up to 10 custom properties are available in free version. So that's, easy to organize.
Right.
So now social media is a bit tricky. So yes, it is available. However, it is available in a paid higher tier in professional. You won't be able to send any messages, and it's not available in free or starter. It's a professional. And in professional, obviously, you can use up to 50 social media accounts and you can post from basically HubSpot. What also you might find interesting is you can post from HubSpot mobile app that was introduced a week ago. So I'm doing quite a lot of events, and I can post on 5 different social networking, like a Hootsuite basically. So it is becoming as a marketing professional. It's marketing professional. It's not sales. It's not service. It's marketing professional level. That is a little bit pricey, but that will give you an option to to post. Second option is if you use, so now obviously the question is, okay, fine, it's expensive. I don't have a budget for marketing professional. What we can do as a workaround this, as we always do. So my advice is if you use another platform, feel free to use because it's cheaper, that's fine. But we need to, one rule is to make sure that if you post something, by the end of the post, usually you send any links. So if that link is the link that, does have a contact form, make sure that, it contains a contact form with HubSpot form. So if they will end up in your database, and you will be known that they came from LinkedIn or social media at least, HubSpot will recognize that kind of source automatically. The second option in you will be able to create the UTM code. So UTM code is the code that basically is attached to any links that you're sending. And so you will be able to track how many people ended up in your HubSpot. So that's another option. That is available inside the HubSpot in professional, but outside of HubSpot in other free tool you can use. So you can look at the UTM code called HubSpot and making sure how many people are clicked and how many people actually fill the form. So that's kind of ultimately the best way to to build that. Yeah.
Thanks.
And yes, I think Ari sent the UTM builder. So this is, yes, generates UTM URL. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. This is fantastic. This is, yeah, you can create that kind of tracking idea without HubSpot. Any other questions or maybe comments on or what's your plan for next steps with CRMs?
We're still trying to make sure everything's kind of integrating the right way. And then, we're just 2 people using it right now. But given kind of the integrations that we have, sometimes the deal structure that I want to create isn't being created the right way. So I'm trying to figure out how to get through that, basically. And then on the free plan, kind of jumping around the hoops of creating different pipelines for partners and customers and this and that by using filters and stuff has been fun, to say the least.
One comment, Ari, for the basically for the sales pipeline creation is that what we've seen is the massive business, millions of turnovers that we've seen the HubSpot for is they use most likely one journey, one pipeline, although they have access to 15 or 20. So if you create different pipelines, so one of the mistake that I've seen is that okay, this is a pipeline for my partners, this is pipeline for XYZ, this is product pipeline. Then you ending up with 10 pipelines, and by the end of the day, like, okay, who do I need to report on what pipeline? Like you're getting messed, you know. So one of the if the journey is completely different. If the journey is completely like this is like completely different journey, yes, please do use the different pipeline. If the journey is the same, so usually it is okay, qualified lead, meeting scheduled, another meeting scheduled. If this is the same, then use the properties within deals to distinguish only these who are like by XYZ client.
I just changed the deal name to have dash partner or dash customer, and I filter whether or not that's in there, and I'm just using it that way. But using a property almost makes more sense.
It's just it's just we tend to oversimplify. Like we have number of options. Yes, let's use this and that, and then by the end of the day, it just we need to report the one. And the final bit, so that the end of the game is reporting. We need to make sure how much money we are getting out of this. What is bringing our money? So what source of contact or company is bringing that kind of level of of profit really, and then the end game is okay. Let's invest. If the LinkedIn ads is working well for you, let's invest another grand or two, into this something that is working.
Makes sense. Cool. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you very much. Final announcement before we go is the event that we put together for the next year. This is the event that we've been asked for a number of times, and this is not only myself, so we are inviting quite a lot of more guests because the whole environment of HubSpot is changing. Let me just pull this in my screen so I can share. So we'll be talking about the accountancy and how to create accountancy automation or the integration rather with HubSpot. And I have invited one of actually our customer, but also an integrator, and we will be talking about getting started accounting in HubSpot. It is interesting how HubSpot is evolving. By the end of the day, we can see the data of invoices inside the HubSpot under the deals. And we want to dig it in a little bit more about that. So this is the event that I'm talking about, is the 24th. Again, we've changed a little bit of timing for our events at 2 p.m. as we have quite a lot of customers joining us from US. So that will be kind of a good time for everyone. So getting started with HubSpot accounting, and Phil is the guy who I'll be interviewing how to integrate different systems and how we can be better in terms of data. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. Enjoy your festive time. Do not eat too much. Work on your HubSpot, and I'll send that recording later on. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you guys. Have a good Christmas.
Thank you, Bart. Have a good Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.